Alright, everybody. Today, I'm going to show y'all the science behind God. In this particular video, I'm going to show you the science behind the dividing of the Red Sea back in Moses' day when they was freeing the slaves and running from the Egyptian army. So, to see if this story is actually true or not, I broke it down to three simple things. First of all, we're going to have to find out if the power of wind can move bodies of water, because in the story, as the Bible says, an east wind blew, and that's what divided the waters. In science, they do these experiments, and they say yes, it was the wind. They sometimes they take claim like they discovered it was the wind and not God. But I got to say real quick, the science, the Bible knew it first before science was even thought. I'm just saying. So science will prove this, but first let's do our own at-home experiment and see how it goes. So check out the experiment here real quick, and we'll get back to this. Science experiment is going to show whether or not if the power of wind can divide water. So in this case, I'm bringing it down to a smaller scale than the Red Sea, and I'm going to use an air compressor and a bucket of water with food coloring. So let's get to the air compressor. And I got about 60 PSIs, and then we're going to go down here, and we're going to see what the power of wind can do and see if we could divide water. It's very simple logic. I just thought it'd be pretty cool to do the science experiments. Listen to what let it go. There went the Egyptian army. That's all I need to do. Let's finish this off, because boom. That was the end of the Egyptian army. Now, so that shows right there that yes, the power of wind is capable of dividing waters in big oceans of waters, because remember, this is a little cheesy experiment, low budget because I'm cheap. But the thing is, bring this up the scale to the size of the Red Sea. All you're going to need is more powerful wind. They're saying 65 miles an hour, but I don't know if I believe that. I'm going to say 650 miles an hour. I mean, you need like a tornado to depart the sea. That's how powerful God is. And thank you for watching. So let's get to the next thing here. Let's check out the evidence. Now that you see the experiment, that shows that we can move water with the power of wind. Just remember, that's a smaller scale, so bring it up the scale. To move more water, you're going to need more powerful wind. That's all there is to it. And science will tell you that, and they prove this stuff in labs, and, it's actually pretty cool. So, check this out. The second thing we got to figure out, so that's done. The first thing's done. You can use the power of wind to move water. The more water, the more wind you're going to need, the more powerful. Now, step two is to okay, let's check out the documentation. Is this like in history? It's in the Bible. That's our number one source right there. But also, it's amazing I couldn't find this on the internet. But this is based on like 20 years experience of studying the Bible and also studying science. So they have rocks like they carve and write stories on back in those days. It's carved in the stone about the wind, the dividing of the sea, and Moses. And check this out. Moses, I don't think the Egyptians called Moses Moses. You know what they called him? He had a nickname. You got a nickname in your hometown? Moses had a nickname. Check this out. His nickname was Prince of the Desert. Tell me that shit ain't badass. Can you imagine Moses walking up into the bar this day? He trying to talk to some lady friend or something, and the girl say, "What's your name?" He'd be like, Psh, "Prince of the Darkness." I think he'd get the number. I don't know. I don't think that would work these days, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. But that's a pretty badass nickname, Prince of the Desert. Back to the story, or what I'm trying to prove here. But so yeah, there is history. I just can't seem to find it on the internet. And if anyone knows about the stone I'm talking about, when they chiseled out the stone and told the story, or any kind of information in Egypt documentations, please let that in the comment below, so I can further my studies on this, because I studied this stuff for 20 years. I just can't find anything on the internet. For once, I can't. But anyway, so the documentation, because I can't find that evidence there, we're going to stick with the Bibles or documentation. And whether if you believe it or not, let's just see if we can believe the science and see what might have really went down. So, with all that being said, let's move to the third thing we're going to need. Physical evidence. Do we have any? Well, as the story goes, when Moses and the slaves get across, Moses and the people get across safely, the wind decides out of nowhere to stop blowing while the Egyptian army was in the middle of the Red Sea, and that's what took the army out. Now, you would think if the story was true, you might want to go down and see if there's some kind of stuff down there. Well, we went scuba diving, we went down, and we found a bunch of a bunch of stuff. Over 600 artifacts, and between Egyptian weapon gear, warrior gear, chariots, wheels, bones of horses and men, like warriors, all Egyptian, dated back to around that time, back in Moses' day when they crossed the sea. So, with all that being said, we proved that we could move water with the power of wind, okay? We proved that, well, we have documentation, we got the Bible. There is other documentation out there, I just can't find it on the internet. Trust me, there is. I've been doing this a long time, y'all. Trust me on that one. And also, was the last one, physical evidence. You can't deny that. You can't deny that. And you put all those clues together. It's like a puzzle. You put all those little simple clues together, read the version of the Bible, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Now, I think the reason why I couldn't find the documents on Egypt is because internet says Egypt didn't keep track of that. Well, you know what? It was kind of embarrassing for Egypt to lose an entire army to a bunch of slaves. That's embarrassing, but that's a whole army. Like, how can you let that slip through the cracks? People are going to be asking questions. But anyway, the point is, it happened, and that's why science has so much evidence to back up this story, the dividing of the sea that Moses and God and all them did. They have so much evidence, they cannot, it would be unscientific to dismiss it as a fairy tale, and that's why they won't, because there's too much evidence to back it up. Just like the Big Bang Theory, way too much evidence. They can't just throw it out. No, they got to consider it. So consider this. So that's pretty much it with the science. So science will even say this actually happened. And with the Bible, it'll say, now the only thing with science, they don't believe, like 90% of scientists believe in God, but the other 10%, and what I'm saying for science, the non-believing part of science, they say, we did this experiment, because I've seen this done in labs many times. They say we did this experiment, and the wind did it, and not God. And then you're gonna be like, are you kidding me? We know the wind did it. The Bible knew that before. It said the east wind. The Bible was specific. It didn't even know which wind. It was the east wind. Science can't figure that one out. They had to go by the Bible to learn that shit. Psst. Bible knows that. I'm telling you, the Bible's knowledgeable, man. And ladies and gentlemen. So check this out. So they always be trying to take God out the equation. But whenever I see these experiments, I'm like, why are you going to take God out the equation? Then they go on this endless search to find out why it happened, like what made it happen. They take the only possible answer out of the equation, who is God. So I'm going to make this video because I'm about to bring God back up in the equation. And I'm going to answer some unanswered questions because it's just dumb to take God out. That's my point. I got his back. That's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to prove a point. So check this out. So we prove we can win. Blah, blah. I can't get my words right. I get so frustrated, right? No, check this out. So we can use the power of wind to move water. No problem. Science will tell you that. And science is right. You can. And, here's one question. How did they not get blown off? I got to throw this in. Well, if you want to go to dynamics and geometry and science and all that, if there was, here's one way that the water can have been departed. So if there's land up here like this wide, we'll just say 100 feet wide if you bring it up the scale, and then that the water pushes down, and this land is here, and there's like hillsides this way, if water's over that land and the wind blows hard enough, it could push that water downward like that. Just like that a little bit. Don't take that much either. And then you got this land that's exposed. They could walk across that, get to the other side because all the water's pushed down. Land's up here, water pushes down, but the land's like, I hope I'm explaining that. That's just one of many ways, y'all. One of many ways. So I'm going to show you after this. Actually, I'm going to show you another way where the wind could push to this. So watch this video real quick and pay attention to the timeline and this crossing spot. So check this out real quick. This is one more way it could be done. Okay. So now then these are just a couple ways it could have happened. Then you could add your 100-foot wave, but you're going to need some powerful wind to do that. I think God's powerful enough. So let's see how the story goes if you remove, like science, if you remove God out of the equation and go by the facts and evidence of what happened and still go by the story to Bible. Let's take God out the equation and see what happened there. I'm going to reenact this shit. So come on, let's go. I'm going to have some fun with this. This is where you're going about to laugh. So Moses and the people, they go down to the Red Sea and they're like, damn, they about to die because they got the Egyptian army chasing them and stuff. They scared. They just tore up their town with some 10 plagues or whatever. Army wants them dead. They want blood. They scared. And now this Red Sea's just chilling there in their way, right? So they didn't know that the army's getting closer and closer. So Moses said to himself, I'm going to take this stick, right? Remember, there ain't no God in this equation because science took it out. We're doing the scientific. This is Mother Nature science happening right now. So check this out. This is not God and Jesus, but Mother Nature and science without God and Jesus. Check it out. So Moses go up to that Red Sea. He takes a stick. He goes, he rubbing that lucky rabbit foot necklace. He's like, come on, Mother Nature science. Come on, Mother Nature science. I'm going to raise this stick and the wind's going to blow, right? He ain't talking to nobody because ain't no God there to talk. Remember, we talking about the equation. He raised that stick. Oh my God, the lucky motherfucking day, right? That wind just blew in the sea, divided, right at his will, right when he needed it to save their asses, right? That's a Mother Nature science right there. But for that wind to blow so hard at the right place, at the right time, right when they needed it too. That's a lucky day. They shouldn't be crossing no damn sea. They should be at the casino. They'd be hitting a lot of money at the casino. They ain't had casinos back then. They had to cross the sea, so let's cross the sea. Now, why ain't the wind blowing them off? Well, according to science, if there's a raising of the ground, like I said a minute ago, if that wind hits a certain wind, this got to be right. You got to hit like bullseye on the dartboard for this to happen. And you got to hold it in every little spot all the way across the sea. That's like Mother Nature and science. It just doesn't do that. But Mother Nature and science was having a good day and it was helping Moses out, right? So it did do that. And it had to hold that way. So it hits a certain angle where that, if you imagine a little experiment I did earlier, if you put a little speed bump there, like a little car speed bump, and like the land, if you have that in mind too, like, so when the wind hits at that certain angle, it could actually like kind of like bounce off a little bit and create like an arc of wind. And if you're walking down this way and you got that arc of wind, it's going to be windy as hell with that much power, but it's not going to be enough to blow you off. But like, I don't know, with that arc, when you stick your hand up there, that shit might take you. I don't know. But that's what they say in science, why they didn't get blown off. If there was a raising of the ground and the water just came down like this and the ground just was clear of water because the water went down low. So if I hope I explained that. It's difficult to explain. I couldn't find anything on the internet to pop up or whatever. I'm gonna try. But anyway, besides all that, so, and all of a sudden, let's get back to the story. So all of a sudden, all the people, Moses and all them, because Mother Nature opened up, they blew a wind, and let them cross, and they all said, every last bit of them said, every last bit of them said, they go on another side. They turn around, and they're looking at the Egyptian army. They're in the sea now. They coming. That sea ain't closing, y'all. If that sea don't close, that Egyptian army gonna meet up with them and kill them all, right? So what happens? Moses rubs that, he holds up his stick. He's like, okay, lucky rabbit foot. Mother Nature science. Mother Nature science. I believe in science. Please, when I put this stick down, drop that water on those fools. Whoosh! And it came down on him. Lucky rabbit foot. Like I said, I bet he went to the casino after that shit. Now, you know where they went? Off to the land of milk and honey. I like milk and honey. 1 tablespoon of honey a day. You'd be amazed with the benefits you get from 1 tablespoon of honey a day, but that's just expensive. But anyway, besides all that, that don't sound logical to me, y'all, but that's how science would probably, they do something stupid. They're going to find anything to say it was science and not God. So guess what? Let's bring God back up in the equation with all the facts there, because we know it happened. We know that we know that Moses and all those slaves made it across that river, safe and sound, every last one of them. And we know that the water decided to close when the wind stopped blowing, right at the moment they needed it to take out the Egyptian army. Because that Egyptian army caught up to him, they would have killed him. But they couldn't because they got swept away by the oceans. I say it's the power of God. I don't think it was Mother Nature and science. So, what this video is, okay, and let's get the God version here. So, you want the God version? I'll tell you what. Don't take my word for it. You go and learn this stuff yourself. You go up to your Bible, anyone you want. I prefer the New King James Version because it takes the ye's and yays out, and I could comprehend it better. I got issues. Come on. And I comprehend it better because it takes ye's and yays out, and it still has like a poetic rhythm to it when I read it. I just like it. New King James, that's what I recommend, but it's entirely up to you. That's an opinion. And just make sure you get the right message. That's all. So what I'm saying in here, the whole point of down here is doing that science experiment and explaining this is this right here, my friends. When someone does a science experiment and this is my boy and tries to take my boy God and Jesus out of the equation, I'm always going to be here to do the same science experiment saying that you're right, but you're wrong when you take God and Jesus out of the equation, because I'm going to bring them right back in because that's my boy and I got their back. They're my best friends, man. Talk to him all the time. And what I'm going to say here right now, science just proved closer and closer to the existence of God and everything going on. Because let me tell you something. Science complements God's great work. Science does nothing more than explain how God makes things work in the physical world. Right down to the microscopic level. That's what science is. God allows us to have science because us humans are just curious what's out there, and we have science to discover some of these things. And what a spit in God's face when God allowed us to learn this science stuff, and we go and turn that against him to try to prove he's not real. Then when they take God out of the equation, they just look dumb because they can't find an answer to shit, because God is the answer. He's the answer to everything. He's a way of life, my friend. Him and Jesus, my friend. And that's why I make these videos. I love them to death. They did so much for me. They put me through hell too, but it's how they shaped me. If it wasn't through the hell I went through, I wouldn't be shaped into the person I am today. And I think I'm pretty knowledgeable with the Bible and some science. Science, it's not God versus science. No, it's God and science versus mankind for the ones who don't believe. If you're a non-believer, I still want you watching my videos though. Go ahead and like and subscribe. And I know I might have swore a few times in the video and trying to preach a little bit of God, but I'm preaching a different kind of way, y'all. I'm trying something new. I'm trying to reach the people who need God more. If you Christian, you got God and Jesus in your life, God bless your souls. Thank God. Still watch my video there. Like and subscribe. But if you're a non-believer, or you hate God, then go ahead and watch, like and subscribe. You might need it more. I know you don't want to hear this God stuff, but just consider it. You know, have a plan B. Have a plan B, because if heaven and hell is real, and God and Jesus is real, and you die and you wake up, you're gonna wake up in one place. At least, you know, have a plan B. Fake it till you make it, they say in the meetings out there. Fake it till you make it. Have a plan B. Have some God and Jesus up in your life. Even if they just plan B, at least you're considering it. Maybe one day you get even closer than that. I know I did. I couldn't live a good life without them. That's why I give God and Jesus my credit. Why? I give them like my respect, because I'll tell you what, without them I ain't shit. That's all I got to say. So get yourself right, get with God, and remember, man, when they try to prove God wrong, just remember I'll always be here to prove that God is right. Ain't no one gonna stop me. And that's why I make these videos. You take it or leave it. But if you're a non-believer, consider it at least. But if you are a believer, God bless your soul. I know my fellow Christians are going to be so mad at me for swearing in my videos. I know it. But I got something worked out with the band up there. I got a disclaimer video for it I made. I just don't know if I'm going to post it, because I ain't going to be swearing on that much. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed the science experiment. It'll be great. It'll be helpful if you like this video. I got to deal with God. I just need one like. If you like this video, that's telling me that I got you to open up your Bible to learn about God a little more. And just remember, when I come up with my Bible stories and talks, I don't make fun of God. I make learning about God fun. I want to get that right. Get that right. I love God. I'll never make fun. I do joke around with him that he be a clown sometimes. You got to talk to God. Whatever your relationship is with God, whether if you're scared to him and you tremble when you pray, that's fine. Even if you goof around or you complain a lot to him, that's fine. Just get a relationship with God no matter what it's like. Just have a relationship. And don't forget Jesus too. I always say God and Jesus. Sometimes I just don't know which one to talk to, so I talk to them both, and it works pretty damn good. Anyway, I'm going to go. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I know y'all ain't sneeze, but God blesses you anyway. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good day. Hope you had fun. A long time ago, before that time, there was God, and he was timeless. And God created time and space. And in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." And God seen that the light was good, and nobody said a word. So it was. And then he started his creation. And God gave life and love everywhere he went. And then he started his creations. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters of the earth, giving life to everything he touches. For 6 long days, which is timeless to God, He created everything on the earth. Thus the heavens and the earth, and all the host of them, were finished. And on the 7th day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the 7th day, sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made, to be continued.